Guess who's back again? But the name soon as we walk in. Shut up, I'm wearing jewelry. Yes, I know this. Yeah, ain't what's finest shoes. Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. No, we get the color red, the blue. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the fucking keep up. Why you mad? Fix your face. Ain't my fault they all be cheating. Keep up. Hey, it's okay, man. Come on. Put your hands up. What y'all trying to do? Magic in the air. It's so good. Look out. Second class for the hustlers. Get to know. Good evening, good evening. Welcome and come on in. I am super excited and glad you can join us today. This is Deborah D. Smith of Build Your Best Life. You know that obstacles come in all forms, such as murder, suicide, depression, homelessness. These are only some of the obstacles that our young people are facing today. My platform is designed to assist high school age and young adult males as they follow my basic principles to overcome these obstacles and to build their best lives. I believe it is better to train early rather than to fix later. And I am so excited because we are having my second annual educational symposium. Yay! I am so excited. And our theme this year is Hooked on Books and Looks. And before we get started, please, please, please remind everyone out there to get on, share this link because we need people to sign up for these haircuts. You have to be on in order to win. So we do need people to sign up for the haircuts, put their information in the thread so we can capture that information because we want to give away these free haircuts. So please, please share. Now, the function of education is to teach one to think intensely and to think critically. The function of education is to teach one to think intensely and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. And that's a quote from Martin Luther King. So when you have education and you think and do critical thinking and you're out there doing creative things, and to put a topping on that, if you have the right type of character, hey, you have a winning combination. So remember that. Get that education, be creative, think outside the box, and always have great character traits. Now, we talked about work ethics, so I'm not going to get into that. So if you missed that, you can go on out there and look at some of the old videos from last month to find out about that. But we're talking about education. Now, I have a special guest on tonight, and I'm so excited to have her on. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before we get started. Anita J. Cummings. Hey, Anita. One of her favorite scriptures is Psalm 143:10. Teach me your will, for you are my God. May your good spirit lead me on level ground. Miss Anita Cummings is originally from Fountain Inn, South Carolina. She is the 11th of 12 children born to the late Reverend Odell and Macy Wharton. She is recently widowed and has 2 grown sons, Marcus and Ticarius. She currently resides in Thomson, Georgia. She is an active member of Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church. She has served in the capacity of Christian Education Director, Sunday School Teacher, Youth Advisor, MIA, Women of Wisdom Leader, and Vacation Bible School Assistant Director. She has served as the 10th District MIA Secretary and Women of Excellence Coordinator. Bible study and Sunday school are an essential part of her spiritual growth. She firmly believes that God has called her to be a servant of mankind. Two of her favorite songs are A Charge to Keep I Have and God's Grace. Anita J, as she is affectionately called, received her Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education at Lander College. She also has acquired a master's degree and an educational specialist degree from Troy University and Augusta State University, respectively. Mrs. Cummings taught middle grades for 19 years in McDuffie County, Georgia. She was fortunate to serve as assistant principal of Washington Wilkes High School during the 2005-2006 school year. She served as principal of Thomson Elementary for 9 years and 4 years as principal of Thomson McDuffie Middle School. She retired after 33 years of service and currently serves as a part-time family engagement liaison for the local school system. She has a passion for children and for education. She definitely believes that teaching is her calling. Her favorite educational quote is, "The teacher affects eternity." He or she can never tell where his or her influence stops, and that was by Henry Adams. She is a proud member and immediately past president of the Thomson Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and serves as serves her community as a member of the McDuffie County branch of the NAACP, McDuffie Board of Elections and Registration, McDuffie County Hospital Board, and the Boys and Girls Advisory Council. Anita J is celebrating 12 years of being cancer-free from stage 3 colon cancer. Hey, man, great! Woo! They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. I am graced and blessed to welcome Miss Anita Cummings, Miss Agnes Copeland's sister, as she passed the ketchup. Strategies to survive and thrive when school reopens. Hi, Anita.
Hey, my sister Deborah, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful.
Well, it's great to see you, and indeed, it's a great day to talk about pass the ketchup and strategies as we are on the verge of going back to school.
All right.
So thank you so much for having me. I'm extremely excited. Thank you for that introduction. Before I get started, I just want to share two of my firm beliefs. The first one is, I do believe that all lives matter. I will be referencing data based on some Black students, and that doesn't mean that I don't care about other subgroups. You need to know that I love and care about every subgroup. So all lives matter. Next, I cannot emphasize enough that parents, guardians, family members, you are your child's first teacher. The word tells us to train up a child in the way he should go, and then they will not depart from it. So I firmly believe in the power of parents, guardians, and family. And you will hear that repeated throughout what I'll be sharing with you for the next 15 or 20 minutes. Before I start talking about strategies, if you will allow me to get on my soapbox just for a minute. As we re-enter school, we're still in the midst of the pandemic. I think we can all agree that we have some catching up to do, and it's going to take the village of the school, the home, the child, the community, the family, all of us working together to get that catch up job done. There's no silver bullet, and one size does not fit all. We can even address the elephant in the room and admit that some of us may have experienced some stress ourselves during these last few months. Whether we are students, educators, parents, or guardians, family members, support staff like bus drivers or custodians, or just good neighbors, we must admit that Corona has us concerned. To that measure, I strongly encourage everyone to make sure that you take all precautions to protect yourself and your loved ones from COVID-19. Sad but true, research tells us that stress and depression is on the rise. We all witnessed that on July the 27th when the world famous and the greatest gymnast of all time, Simone Biles, she withdrew from the Olympics team competition, citing mental health issues. Having a more immediate effect on us is the fact that educators across the globe are leaving the profession. 43% of all teachers who left voluntarily before their scheduled retirement said they did so because they didn't want to deal with the stress and the disappointment of education. Nearly half of those said the pay wasn't sufficient. And among the teachers who left because of the pandemic, 65% said they were not paid enough to merit the stress and taking the risk of COVID. And to be honest, I know as an educator that teachers were under stress before COVID-19. Here's my soapbox point. If world champions and professional adults are struggling and stressing over our current condition, don't you think it's possible that our children can really be stressed out and maybe even depressed as they prepare to go back into our schools? So parents, guardians, those who love our children, please make sure that you watch them, watch their mental health, watch their physical health, watch their social well-being, and seek professional guidance, professional counseling if necessary. Because before we can start talking about the strategies that we need to use to catch up, we need to make sure that we are mentally ready to receive the knowledge that will be given by our educators. So that's my little soapbox point. Now, being that we know that we can be under stress, we don't need to add to the stress. This short poem was written by a student, and sometimes we have no idea what boys and girls are bringing to our classrooms. As parents, we think we know our children, but we need to make sure that we listen to our children simply because there is so much out there. So make sure you don't add to the stress. I love this poem, and it's called "Cause I Ain't Got No Pencil." I woke myself up because we ain't got an alarm clock. Dug in the dirty clothes basket because ain't nobody washed my uniform. Brushed my hair and teeth in the dark because the lights ain't on. Even got my baby sister ready because my mama wasn't home. Got us both to school on time to eat a good breakfast. Then when I got to the class, the teacher fussed at me because I ain't got no pencil. Well, as we move forward, we cannot be focused on little small things. We need to make sure that if it's small, that we deal with it. You can disagree with me, but a pencil is a small thing to be dealing with. We need to teach children responsibility. So parents, make sure you get them their supplies. Students, make sure you get those supplies to the classrooms. Teachers, give them a pencil. For those of us who don't necessarily have students in our classroom at this time, this is what we need to do. When you're in the store, pick up some pencils. Drop them off by school. You do not have to have a child attending that school to donate school supplies to the school. So make sure you give them a pencil. So pass the ketchup. Think about this. If our educational system was designed to meet the needs of all learners, there would not be a need to catch up students because everyone would be performing on or above grade level. And if we say we just need to catch them up where we were, then that's not good enough because we would still be behind. I don't know about you, but I don't want things to return to the way they were. I want better. I want better for me, better for you, and especially better for our children. I don't want the same old, because if we continue to do the same old, we will continue to be behind. With all of that being said, I have to wonder, could this be the year when so many children fell behind and teachers could not really say that children were learning from a distance on Zoom? Could this really be the year that American education gets serious about helping our children catch up? I know the truth of the matter is that our children were behind before the pandemic. Here are some facts. According to the National School Board Association, the Center for Public Education, and the National Center for Statistics, the poverty rate is still highest for Black students. I think it's time to catch up. I do believe that we will still be using the internet and computers, but there's a lack of internet access at the homes, and it's become a barrier for our Black students. Again, I think it's time that we catch up. A high percentage of Black students attend high poverty schools, which means they might be getting secondhand materials. Can you say it with me? It's time for us to catch up. More Black students with disabilities, and this one is so dear to my heart, more Black students with disability, that's our students who are being served in special education, they receive services for emotional disturbances. If you're taking notes, write that word down, emotional disturbances, because the definition includes an inability to learn that cannot be explained by intellectual, sensory, or health factors. It goes on to state that it's an inability to build or maintain satisfactory interpersonal relationships with peers and teachers. That's what they're saying. When you continue to read those definitions, it finally states that emotional disturbances include schizophrenia. Now, children can be labeled emotional disturbance at an early age. And I don't know about you, but I would be highly offended if my child was labeled emotional disturbance and the school system or guidance counselors or somebody was not helping me to meet my child's need to say, no, he's not, or no, she's not. It's time for us to catch up. The disproportion between Black students and Black teachers has not improved. That means our boys and girls can go through K through 12 and never have a Black teacher. I tell you, it's time for us to catch up. The achievement gap between Black and white students has not been closed. This is what they're saying. They are saying that because I'm Black and because you're white, that your scores will be higher than mine. Well, the only thing we can go on is our data. And according to that, it's right. It's time for us to catch up. School dropout rate keeps high among Black students. It's time for us to stay in school and catch up. Graduation rates and college enrollment rates remain low among Black students. It is time for us to catch up. We already know that there's simply not enough time for educators to make up the last work that we missed during this COVID season. So I ask you, what does the great catch up look like? Well, the great catch up is going to look like that we have to have the community involved, the family involved, and the school involved if we're going to be about the students. And we are about the students. It's going to take all of us working together if we're going to do the great catch up. And I shared that with you earlier. It's all about working together, and it's all about catching up. I can't emphasize enough that parents, guardians, family really matter. Children who are behind, they can catch up. Studies and research says this. It comes down to parents, guardians, and families. This sounds so simple. So let's try it and see. It says, a child who has a parent or family member read to them every day when they are 5. And then if they take an interest in their school when they are 10, we reduce the probability of them living in poverty significantly. And all it takes is reading to them and showing an interest in their school. Then we will highlight ways that you can show interest in your child's school. Remember, I told you earlier that there is no silver bullet. Well, there is no silver bullet. I do not have a magic wand, but I will share some doable and some simple examples that everyone can do so that we can experience the great catch up. Now, number one, I know some of you out there are baby boomers and you came from Generation X. This is what I need for you to do. I need for you to avoid what you learned growing up. We don't teach it that way anymore, and they don't learn it that way anymore. And now I know you thinking, well, oh, good for me. I don't have to help because there it goes. Well, something else I need for you to do, I need for you to stop saying that. I need for you to stop saying, I wasn't good in math, so I can't help you in math. I don't like to read. Well, start reading. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So you need to speak it into existence. So if you feel inadequate to help your students, your child, your nieces, your nephews with their homework, hang on. And I promise you, I'm going to tell you where to go to get help. And you don't even have to leave your home. The second thing I want you to do, I want you to listen to your children. Make sure you listen to them. Take time to listen to them. When you ask, how was your school day? If they say good, well, ask more questions. You don't want that open-ended answer. Make sure you ask and get a detailed answer. Well, what did you learn in math class today? Did you learn anything new today? What will y'all be studying about tomorrow? Ask about all of the content areas. Ask about homework assignments. Just make sure you listen to your child and start that conversation about school. That's showing an interest. The next thing I want you to do, and this is how you can be involved, and I said this earlier, I want you to be visible. I want you to be visible. I want you to show up for meetings. I want you to serve on committees. Usually when we have parents serving on committees, we only meet 2 to 4 times a year. Attend muffin for moms and donut for dads and grits for grandparents, whatever you have at your school. Attend those events as well as sporting events. I want you to speak to administrators, speak to teachers, speak to custodians, get to know the secretaries so that they can get to know you. If you are not face-to-face where you're living or residing, then get to know that website. There is so much information on there. Get your district calendar, get your school calendar, highlight areas, and then I need for you to show up. I need for you to show up at activities that are going on at the school. Believe it or not, our research states that engaged parents increase the percentage of their children reaching graduation. And I don't know if you can see the graduation robe in the back of me, but our ultimate goal is we want some high school graduates and we want some college graduates. Military, that's fine too. Technical school, that's fine as well. Or even if you graduate and go into the workforce, that's fine. But we need for you to graduate from high school. Parents, this is something else I need for you to do. Teachers can teach as long as we have the students in the classrooms. So you need to make sure that students come to school prepared and that they follow the dress code. When we have policies and when we have procedures, and if we cannot allow students to sit in a classroom if they're not properly dressed, that means that they're sitting in the office or in the reflection room or in a holding room until you can bring them a change of clothing. That means they're missing instructions. So know the dress code policy and make sure you dress them appropriately. I know some parents, because I had the experience before, they shared with me that I did not buy their children's clothes. True. And I didn't start buying their clothes. But we have a policy that we must enforce. So know the dress code policy, send them to school dressed appropriately so that they can stay in the classrooms. And in the classrooms, they can learn. Breakfast is important. And I know some of us might skip breakfast. But again, what I'm sharing with you is what the research says work. Students need a nutritious breakfast. So if you're not going to get up and prepare breakfast for them, please make sure that you send them to school so that they can eat a nutritious breakfast. Please make sure you send them to school so on time so they can eat a nutritious breakfast. That breakfast give them more energy and proper rest. The next thing, you might disagree when I say this, but they really do need to have a bedtime. And a bedtime means lights out, phones off, games down, TV turn off, because they need their proper rest. As they grow, 8 to 10, 11 wouldn't hurt. So make sure they get proper rest. The next thing I want you to think about is I need for you to take attendance seriously. Take attendance seriously. Sick children should stay at home. Otherwise, it's important that children arrive to school on time every single day. When they're late, it can be very stressful for them. That means they're missing some classwork, and probably they're missing the correct way to do the homework assignment that was given the night before. So we need to make sure that we get our children to school on time every single day. When a child is 10 minutes late to school, or if you have a habit of picking up your child 10 minutes early because you don't want to wait in the car rider pickup line, that equals 50 minutes for the week. That's 3 hours and 20 minutes for the month. That comes out to be 30 hours for the school year. That's a total of 5 school days. We cannot afford to miss 5 school days if we're going to do the great catch up. So get to school on time and be prepared when you get there. I vaguely touch on communication, and that communication is the key. As a classroom teacher, and I'm speaking from experience, as a classroom teacher, especially during open house, when I had my grade book and I would meet our parents and our students, I would put a mark by the parents that showed up. That means they're showing some interest. And I would put another kind of mark by a parent that told me something specific. I didn't have time to write down what was specific, but I knew that they would say, call me, or I want to help you, keep in touch with me about my child. I would make sure I mark that in my grade book. Parents, family members, believe it or not, parents want you to be involved. They want you to care. So make sure you show up. Meet them during open house. Talk to them during open house. But this is not the time to carry on a full-blown conversation. This is what I suggest you do after open house, after school starts. In about 4 weeks, you call and you schedule a conference. Ask your teacher, ask your child's teachers how your child is doing. You go prepared with questions. Ask your child reading level, ask their math level, ask if they're on grade level, if they're participating in class. Are they coming to class prepared? What can I do at home to help you better at school? So you make sure that after school starts, in about 4 weeks down the line, you have a conference. Now, 4 weeks means that's midway, right before midterm. So if there are any issues, once you get your progress report, you will not be that surprised. If you don't have it right before progress report, you might be surprised. Another thing that really, really surprises me is baby boomers and Generation X, we still do get report cards. But sometime at the end of the year, when parents say, I have never seen a report card for the year. Never? Well, if you look at the school calendar, it's on there. Most school systems have an automated system now. They will call and they will tell you that report cards are coming home with the children today. So you need to listen to that as well. But not only sign the report cards, look at the report cards, see where they're going, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Something additional that you can do that's in most school systems now, they have what we call a parent portal. In McDuffie County, we have what we call Power School. When my child was in school, I could log on to Power School with his name, his account, and I could see every grade for every content. If there were missing assignments, I could see how well he scored there. So ask your school system if they have a parent portal. You get that login information and you stay on top of every single assignment. Now, what the teachers are required to do in McDuffie County, and that's where I am, they had 5 days after an assignment had been given to post the grades. So if a test is on Wednesday, you must give them 5 school days to post the grade. If the grade is not there after 5 days, or however many days your system deem appropriate, then you need to call. Because once you call, they'll know that they need to be on it as well. We must implement all of these strategies if we plan to catch up. I do want to spend a little time on this next thing that I want to talk about. Earlier, I told our baby boomers and our Generation X that I would share a strategy that you could use even if we didn't learn it that way when we were in school. Let's talk briefly about the curriculum. So I took a few minutes. I don't know which states are represented, but I looked at Florida Department of Education, South Carolina's Department of Education, and of course, Georgia's Department of Education. They have so many things in common. All of our standards might not be aligned, meaning that it might be served as a 2nd grade standard in Georgia, but it might be a 3rd grade standard in South Carolina. So if you're going to look at each department, make sure you read the standard so you will know that you are helping or assisting your child in the right way. But when I went to floridastudents.org, that's where I went. It says floridastudents, one word, .org. I was so amazed and so pleased with Florida's website. I saw the word BEST, and it stands for Benchmarks for Excellence in Student Thinking. I love that. Benchmarks for Excellence and Student Thinking. Once I was on that site, it showed me online resources. It had videos that were designed by Florida teachers showing you, me, us, anyone who goes on that website, how to do the activity, how to do the standard. So even if we say, they didn't do it that way, I didn't learn it that way, open up your minds, get outside of that box, visit that site, pull up that video, learn something so that we can help our children learn as well. When I went to the South Carolina site, I went to ed.sc.gov. Saw some amazing things there. They had actually broken down the standards into more of a specific content area, and then they had skill emphasis. And what that skill emphasis told me is that that's probably what the teachers and the educators are going to hit very, very hard when they come to that standard. This is what we must understand and realize. I really don't know where each state is going with their state testing. I heard Florida said wonderful things about they might not do state testing, just actually focus on the teaching and the catching up. That would be absolutely wonderful. But this is what you must know, and this is what we must understand. If my third grader is behind, sitting in a third grade classroom, and if he or she is not doing third grade work at the end of that school year, unless there are some special circumstances, at the end of that school year, he will still be required to take the state test on the third grade level. And we have to wonder why our children are behind. It's because we're not teaching up to catch them up. We're still allowing for them to be taught down to. And the only way that's going to change is if parents, family, guardians, those of us who love our boys and girls, is if we get involved and take an active interest in the education of our children. It's going to take that village. And just like on this ketchup bottle, it takes the community, it takes the schools, and it takes family if we're going to do what's in the best interest of our children. On the Georgia website, and I'm most familiar with that website, you go to georgiastandards.org. And on that website, it has a place just for parents. It has a letter talking about each unit, what the child should know at each unit. And then it has like a curriculum guide with the standard highlighted in blue. And if you click on the one that's blue, up pops a video. And it shows you examples on how to do it. And I promise you that if you start watching videos, you will be able to help your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your neighbors, your nephews, everybody. Because again, it's going to take all of us working together to make sure that our boys and girls no longer fall behind, but we catch them up. I'm not for sure, but this is just what I think. And I want you to know this as you go into the schools. I think the buzzwords for this year will probably be remediation and acceleration. And I want you to make sure that you know the difference between remediation and acceleration. When I was in school, and sadly to say, even when I was in the classroom as a teacher, we focus more on remediation. And this is what remediation does. You know, you used to have those pullouts. So if we give the whole class a test, and if 10 people failed the test, someone would take those 10 people and go reteach what they missed on the test, while these other 20 move ahead. But what happens when these 10 rejoin the group? They're behind. So if you hear anybody say that I want to remediate your child, you say, well, let's try acceleration. And that's how this thing works. Research has proven that it can work. You teach ahead. Our children can learn, and you can teach ahead. And you give them strategies, or you give them devices to help them. So for example, if we were reading a story in English class, as a teacher, I might send home the audio tape of chapter 3 that we're going to read in class tomorrow at home, because I know that your child struggles. They need to go ahead and listen to chapter 3. Then when they return to class, we can read chapter 3, and it won't be his or her first time hearing it. As a parent, I would go a step further. We know that we have to invest in our children. And if it takes going to the school, going to your county library to find out if they have that book on audio, get it on audio, and make sure they hear it multiple times. After they hear it multiple times, maybe the next book, They won't have to listen to the audio tape. They will have learned strategies to keep them abreast of what's going on in the classrooms. As a parent, when we go back to school and as we try to move forward, please make sure you know what's going on in your classroom. Ask what's going on, talk to the teachers, talk to your children. And if something sounds as if it's holding them back instead of pushing them forward, well, you put on your marching shoes and you get right over to that school. If you've been listening to the news, the radio, I know you know this information as well. Your school, your district, your state, they receive federal funding from the United States Department of Education to address the academic slide from COVID-19. So there's some money out there that Florida has, and Georgia and Alabama and South Carolina, that schools and districts are supposed to be using to help all children who not only did the summer slide, but who had the COVID slide catch up. So maybe your district is doing some weekend classes. Maybe they had a summer program. Maybe they will have a summer program this summer coming. Maybe instead of giving you the entire week off for Thanksgiving break, maybe they're going to offer something for those of us who need to catch up, that you only take 3 days off and come and do a camp, an academic camp, those other 2 days. Now, that might be an inconvenience for you, but think about it. We need to get our children caught up. We can either be inconvenienced on this end, or we're going to inconvenience them and delay them wearing that graduation robe across the stage. You pick, you choose, you decide. I said they can offer extended summer school. They can even offer extended school day. Whatever it takes, you make sure you participate in it. I read one article that also stated that they're going to get more parents involved. So parents, maybe your district will have a package for you to pick up. And in that packet, it will have a list of skills, a list of standards, everything that you need already in that kit to work with your child at home on the same standards that teachers are doing in school. Now, if you're already thinking that, now I'm not going to work all day and come home and be my child's teacher too. I understand. I get it. But what's more important? At the end of the school year, all of us want our loved ones to be promoted to the next grade. I don't want them to just be promoted. I want them to be on or above grade level when they are promoted. If we continue to promote our children when they are below grade level, that's not catching them up. That's putting them further behind when they get to the next grade, which causes more stress and more depression. And we know what that can lead to. And again, we don't want that for our boys and our girls. When the community gets involved, your church may offer something. Nonprofit organizations may offer something. The Boys and Girls Club, they have activities. I know the Y, if you have a Y in your area, the Y offer activities. You need to make sure that you get up and get out and get everything that you can to help your boys and your girls succeed. If we don't help our boys and girls, it's going to have an impact on all of us. And I don't think that we can afford to lose a generation. And we can't afford to let this generation go back on their learning. This is a news flash as I bring this catch up to a close. Today's generation of young people faces a radically changing world. Up to half of the world's jobs, around 2 billions, that's with a B, 2 billion, are at high risk of disappearing due to automation in the coming decades. That means jobs will disappear. They will be taken over by technology, equipment, or machines, and they won't need a person to operate them. In contrast to the impact of innovation in previous generation, new technology risks not creating new jobs. Saying the same thing. All this technology is coming in, but it's not creating more jobs. As a matter of fact, it's making jobs disappear. Due to the shift between industries and the changing nature of work within industries, demand for high-level skills will grow, and many low and medium skilled jobs will become obsolete. They're gone. They're out of here. Those jobs will no longer exist. Jobs open to those without high skill levels will often insecure and poorly paid. If I work 8-hour days, I want to get the max pay or whoever is getting it in that building. This last line is what I need you to hear. It says only quality education for all children can generate the needed skills, prevent worsening inequality, and provide a prosperous future for all. So we're going to stand a chance if our children, if our boys and girls, if our nieces and nephews, if our cousins, if my neighbors, if they're going to stand a chance, then we have got to catch up. It's going to take some time, and it may even take some money, but I guarantee you it will be worth it. So whether you are a parent, a family member, an educator, a caring neighbor, a church member, a babysitter, an auntie, an uncle, I would like to leave you with my final thoughts. It's the excerpt from the poem called Within My Power. And then my final thought will be the words on my t-shirt. 100 years from now, it won't matter what kind of car I drove, what kind of house I lived in, how much money I had in the bank, nor what my clothes looked like. But the world may be a little better because I was important in the life of a child. My shirt says, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. So as you go out into this big world, in a world where you can be anything, still make sure you practice kindness. Be happy, be safe, be beautiful. Have a great school year. College students, for your first year who are going, or if you're returning, the only thing I can say to you about catching up is don't fall behind, and you won't have to catch up. Thank you so much. Thanks for allowing me to share. And I want everyone to have a wonderful, wonderful 2021-2022 school year. Thank you, Miss Deborah.
Thank you. Thank you. With all that strategy, all the parents and children on here should be excited as I am, because you gave them some strategies that should put them on the cutting edge. Girl, when you pass that ketchup, let me tell you.
That's right. We got to catch up. We got to catch up, and we can catch up. We are children of the King.
Yes,
we
I
are
am.
the priesthood. It's no excuse for us not to be on top.
But I'm gonna put this little bird in your ear as you were talking. I heard this still voice. Girl, you need to take all that and put that in a book. I ain't playing. That was awesome. That was awesome. And that was, I mean, that's information that we don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. That's information that people need. That was on point.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's my passion, it's my heart.
Thank you. Very good. Yes. Grandma, Agnes said, Grandma learned something. Melissa says yes. Dan said, great job, good information. And Tegan got all these hand claps.
Yay.
Agnes is showing you love.
Yay.
Melissa says, awesome presentation. And Peggy's sitting here like, yeah, she's with me. She's not there today. But that was awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank everybody for tuning in. And thank y'all so much for y'all engagement today, because that information was great and y'all were putting those comments out there. I appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. And I'm going to put my little PowerPoint up here right quick to tell you who we can expect for the next couple of days. But I don't see anybody up here for these haircuts. What's wrong, little boys over there? They haircut anymore?
Well, you know, Deborah, now when you're up and out and about, they're growing all this long hair, but they still need to keep it trimmed.
You need to keep it trimmed. Yeah. It don't matter what you look like, what hairstyle you want to rock. Y'all know I don't know the language, but whatever hairstyle y'all got, I know you got to keep it trimmed. Dante the barber, he is a licensed professional barber. I don't have nobody coming and playing over your head, so you don't have to worry about that, parents. And if you go to St. Paul or Bethel or whatever, hit me up. I can tell you all of that, but y'all need to put those names in there so y'all get these haircuts. This educational symposium is rocking, and it has been so exciting so far, but we got some more to come. Hooked on books and looks. That means, young man, whatever hairstyle you have, you can rock it as long as you get those books and learn it. Now, Miss Anastasia Smith has already bridged the gap for us. Miss Anita J. Cummings, she has come tonight and she has given us those strategies so that we can catch up. We are ready. We are so ready. So tomorrow night, Wednesday, we have Miss Sheila Walker from Dallas, Texas, and she's going to be telling us about what trip will you take turning over the obstacles in education. On Thursday, August 5th, Nikina Bryant from Mesquite, Texas, creative teaching approaches, and she is super excited to share. And then closing us out on Friday, Miss Unique Couples herself, Linda Wright Patrick from Freeport, Bahamas, the next chapter, Love and Happiness. So those three speakers will be coming up. So please join us at 6:30 p.m. each evening. But we do have these complimentary haircuts, compliments of Ruck the Barber. So please put your child's name and your name in the thread, and we can contact you so you can find out how to get your complimentary haircut. As well, I will be donating books to Ribault Middle School and Ribault Senior High School, because reading is important. It takes you higher. Thank y'all so much again for joining us today. It has been fabulous. Girl, go ahead and get some rest because you deserve it. And everybody,
we're back in school. Today's the second day for our kids. So McDuffie County, our kids are back in school. Yes.
All right. Well, great.
That's part of the catch up. Get them back in.
Yeah. Great job. So I know you got it going on. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Peggy, for keeping us with the comments. And thank you, Anita, for giving us those wonderful strategies. And thank everybody for tuning in and being so engaging. Remember, as you go on your way to being a better you, you will run into distractions, rough terrain, and detours. Don't let any of those negative aspects of your journey stop you. Though they may slow you down, keep going to be a better you so that you can build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. And that's not a slogan. It's our commitment. Be blessed. I love you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.